yourself.
Hi, my name is Muzaffar Khan. I have 3 years of experience in software development using Java, Spring Boot, and React.js. Initial stage of my career, I joined as a full stack developer. I worked like both the domain of front end and back end. Recently, I transitioned my career into the backend development because I don't have much interest in UI development. So that's it.
And what about your educational background?
Yeah, I did my BTech in mechanical engineering, but after that I learned Java, Spring Boot, and like JDBC, Hibernate, and after that I transitioned my career into the software development.
Okay. So recently there was a rumor that DSA might be obsolete. And so, what is your opinion on if DSA is still relevant in 2026?
Yeah, in my last interviews, I gave a couple of interviews. In that, every company is asking DSA for the first round or second round. Okay, and they are asking like a medium level. Rarely someone asks like hard level, but nobody is asking easy level question. Everybody asking medium level questions, and you need to recognize the pattern like two pointer hash map or like sliding window or tree. Before solving the question, you just don't need to write a code directly. First, you need to understand the question, and you need to tell the approach to interviewer that I am going to use this approach. Through that, you can optimize the space complexity and time complexity. Interview will be impressed if you will explain before doing the code, explain the approaches that I can do that way also, that this is the brute force approach, this is the optimal approach, and it's the best approach. And if you'll explain each and everything clearly, and after that you are going to do the code, rarely they will say to execute the code. Just they want to know your logical thinking, your problem solving way, how you approach a problem, because it will also useful once you will join the company.
Now DSA is happening in IDEs, or is it pen and paper?
If interview is offline, they are asking on pen on paper. If it is online, they are asking you to do on notepad or text file editor. Because if you will use IDE, they will give you authorization like some syntax. And if you will do pen on paper or notepad, you should also write a proper code with a syntax. So they are checking each and everything, and they are checking your approach, like how you are going to solve this problem. That's it. And pseudocode important. They will ask to dry run. That's the most important. They ask to dry run the code. If your code is working, you can able to explain your code. Rarely they will say you to execute the code. Otherwise, they will never say execute the code. Just they want to see, are you able to explain? Do you handle the edge cases? Do you have like depth knowledge of DSA?
What are the lessons you learned when you applied for this switch recently?
Yeah, I noticed one recently recognized that if your resume is only like Java, Spring Boot, and that's it stuff, your resume will never gonna shortlist, because your resume should filled with the like current tech stack, like current technologies which company are using. If you have experience 2 year or 3 years, you should know like Kafka, Docker, and Kubernetes, and you have depth knowledge of like multi-threading and microservices. It doesn't matter if you haven't worked deep in like Docker and Kubernetes, but you have basic concept. You know how to integrate the like these tools like Docker, Kafka, and Kubernetes, and you should also aware about their like edge cases. If your code, your project is going to fail into the production, how you handle the issues. Maybe you handle or not, it doesn't even matter. Just you have to aware if this breakdown will happen, if this issue will come, how you will resolve this issue, have solution of the problems.
Is system design also important?
Yeah, they are asking system design. They will give you some any scenario. You need to explain their high level design and low level design approaches. You should explain your approaches. And if I say like design UPI payment, so in UPI payment you need to implement solid principles, acid properties. It should be visible in your explanation, as well as it should be explainable through your code, like how you implement it, how you implement, like which design pattern you use, if singleton design pattern is applicable in multi-threading or not. Because like single design pattern for simple is different, for multi-threading you need to use a different code. So this is very important. And now these days, like your code should be better performance, because performance is the most important thing you need to achieve in your code. Like it should not be data leakage, it should not be like reloading. Okay, and for that you need a lot of things like DB indexing, how you fetch data, and the caching, when caching is required, when you do the caching. Like if you're updating like bulk of data, if you upload at once, it will be like uh, taking too much time. So it should be like batch process, you know, the batch processing. And another thing is like DB level you should also have. If you are going to backend development, not only Java, you have good knowledge in the database level. Now these days, if you think you have only, you know, only the like I know Java house concept, that's no. You should have deep knowledge and you should know the their architecture. That's it.
Okay, so in 2026
Pani
SDE
pile tha.
roles, what concepts you need?
She's taking too tough interview, buddy.
So in 2020, 2026, we know that SDE interviews are getting more tougher, right? So what kind of concepts do we need to learn for if we are applying for backend development?
Like I said, you should be aware about JVM architecture, how .java file converting to the .class file, how it's converting, how it make the platform. Maybe you think it is for like fresher, but you should know about it. Interviewer can ask. Next thing, I'll go serial wise. Next thing, they will ask OOPS concept, not only abstraction or polymorphism or encapsulation. You should explain through your project, like how you implemented a compile time polymorphism in your project, how you implement runtime polymorphism, how you achieve encapsulation in your project, how the inheritance work in your project. You should explain each and everything relevant to your project, how you optimize that one. Next thing is the most important thing is the multi-threading. What is the multi-core, the single core, how context switching is working, the role of context switching into the multi-threading. These things you should know. Like, and if I would say like data structure wise, you should know when we use like the concurrent hash map and hash map in between, and fail safe and fail fast iterator. These things is they asking too many questions on
So
that.
some people have doubt that they haven't used Kafka during their work. So what can they do? Because Kafka and all are very important these days for shortlisting as well. Right? So
If they haven't worked on that, they should learn through YouTube some project, and they should have hands-on experience. Okay, a proper note like concept like the consumer and topics and offset and partition. These things they should prepare well. They should build their project, and they should post about their project and their concept into a LinkedIn, so recruiter will get to know, and they will also come to talk or chase.
are there any interviews wherein they ask to do live projects using all these concepts?
Live project, yeah. They will one of the interview they will explain you a problem. This is a problem like making some tutor Instagram or UPI payment. Explain the requirement. They will give 10 to 15 minutes to understand. If you have any question regarding to the requirement, you can ask. After that, 1.5 hour 2 hours to do the code. Then in that interview session, you need to build a project completely, and after building that, you need to explain the code, how you implemented the feature which they asked, and like the multi-threading, how many concepts you implemented, OOPS concept and everything. You should explain into the interview round. Yeah, that is this.
So are you allowed to use AI?
No, they never allow you to use AI, and because they are not asking you the perfections, they are just checking your like concepts. If you able to do the code, you will able to explain the concept. You have doubt, you can ask to interview.
So this will be face to face.
Yeah, face to face. Maybe they will take only first round or second round, hardly third or fourth round or final round. Definitely they will take like they will take face to face, because nobody is going to trust you if you are giving interview offline. Sorry, online. ये बीच में
Okay. So that's it.